Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining me for this explainer. I am absolutely pumped to dive into today's topic. Because, let's be real, no matter how far you smash the ball off the tee, and no matter how crisp your iron play is, the game of golf gets very, very real the second you step onto the green. The stakes skyrocket, the margins for error literally shrink to millimeters, and precision becomes absolutely everything. So today, we're going to explore the ultimate weapon for the short game and figure out exactly what it takes to master it.
So, let me ask you a question. What is the single most important club in your entire golf bag? You might be picturing your trusty driver right now, but the reality is, the ultimate game maker is the club you pull out for those terrifying, knee-knocking 4-foot putts. Your putter is the tool that makes the difference between shooting under par and over par. It is literally where matches are won and lost.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the putter arsenal. Second, finding your perfect fit. Third, the USGA equipment rules. And finally, the laws of adjustability.
All right, let's jump right into part one, the putter arsenal, your tools of the green.
Okay, let's dive into this. Walking into a pro shop and staring down that daunting wall of putters, it can be incredibly overwhelming, right? It's just a sea of metal, shapes, and sizes. But let's simplify the whole shebang by looking at the two massive categories dominating the market: blade putters versus mallet putters. The traditional blade is an absolute classic. It's smaller, has a thin, flat, angled club head, and it's usually milled right from a single piece of metal. It's highly technical, razor sharp, and gives you incredible immediate feedback. On the flip side, we have the mallet putter. These things are broad, much larger, feature these big, clear alignment aids, and they are amazingly smooth and forgiving. They're highly resistant to twisting on bad hits because they have a much higher moment of inertia, or MOI.
Now, beyond the basic blade and mallet, there are 6 highly specialized tech variations you really need to know about. First up, peripheral weighted putters. These push the weight to the outer edges for ultimate stability. Next, face-balanced putters, where the club face itself carries the weight. Then, toe-balanced putters, where the weight sits way out on the toe. Fourth are insert putters, which use remarkably soft materials like polymer or aluminum right in the face for a muted, soft feel at impact. Fifth, milled putters, meticulously carved from a solid block of steel for predictable, superior feedback. And finally, counterbalanced putters. These are fascinating because they actually pack additional weight up in the grip or the shaft. That shifts the balance point closer to your hands to encourage a wonderfully smooth, pendulum-like motion.
Moving on to Section 2, Finding Your Perfect Fit. This is all about the biomechanics of choice.
So, now that we understand the hardware, we need to shift our focus to the golfer. You. Because a putter isn't just a hunk of metal, right? It's basically an extension of your own biomechanics. And there's actually a bit of a cheat sheet for buyers based on skill level. For beginners, putting can easily be the most daunting part of the game, and traditional blades are often just way too technical. That's exactly why beginners absolutely thrive with mallet putters. That large size mitigates off-center hits and provides immense stability. But look at the advanced players. While there's certainly no rule saying they can't use mallets, many advanced golfers completely swear by milled blade putters. They have the skill to strike it pure, so they want that classic design and the precise feedback that only comes from a single block of stainless steel.
But hey, beyond just your skill level, you've got to match the club's weight distribution to your actual stroke path. I want you to picture your own swing arc right now. When you putt, do you push the club straight back and follow straight through? If so, you definitely want a face-balanced putter. But if your stroke naturally moves on an arc with an open-to-close motion, you absolutely need a toe-balanced putter. Mapping the balance of the club to your body's natural biomechanics is the ultimate secret to consistency.
Okay, Section 3, the USGA equipment rules. Let's get into the law of the links.
We've spent some time talking about being a consumer, but what happens when you step onto the course as a competitor? Welcome to the incredibly strict boundary lines of fair play. Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer level of scientific scrutiny applied to golf clubs. The USGA doesn't just eyeball this equipment, oh no. Clubs are tested almost like highly regulated surgical instruments in a lab. They use these crazy pendulum tests to measure the dynamic properties and the spring effect of club heads in microseconds. In fact, if a club is tested in the field and the contact exceeds 257 microseconds, it's deemed non-conforming and totally illegal for tournament play.
So why go through all this crazy testing? Well, governing bodies like the USGA are basically the ultimate referees for the spirit of the game. Their stated objective is to ensure that technological advances never replace pure player skill. They want to protect the rich traditions of golf and preserve those skill differentials. At the end of the day, It's a game of human judgment and ability, not just engineered perfection. And that brings up a really crucial distinction in the rulebook regarding the condition of your club. The rules draw a very hard line between a club experiencing wear through normal use versus a club being damaged during a round. For example, let's say you practice so much that your putter grip naturally molds to your hands over time just through sheer friction. That is perfectly legal. The club is just worn. But if a club takes damage from a single sudden event, a totally different set of rules kicks in.
So what exactly happens if your club is quote-unquote damaged during a round? Basically, it means the performance characteristics were changed by a specific act, whether you accidentally dropped it on a cart path or, let's be honest here, slammed it into your bag after a terribly missed putt. If this happens mid-round, the rules actually permit you to keep making strokes with it for the rest of the day. You can even try to repair it back to its original condition, as long as you don't unreasonably delay play. But here is the kicker. You normally cannot replace it with another club. You are totally stuck with what you have.
Here's the really crucial point, though. Accidental damage is one thing, but deliberately altering your club mid-round, that is a massive violation. Rule 4.1a explicitly states you cannot apply temporary substances, like saliva, grass juice, chalk, or aerosol spray, to the club face to affect how it performs. Now, if you apply something just to clean it off, you're fine. But if you apply it to actively influence the movement of the ball, you will immediately find yourself on the wrong side of the rulebook and facing a disqualification.
Which brings us to Section 4, the laws of adjustability. Let's talk about tinkering legally. Let's see how all of this builds into the physical modifications of your club. A lot of modern clubs are specifically designed to be tweaked and tuned. But how do you physically modify your shiny new putter without getting DQ'd before you even tee off? Well, the USGA does allow adjustable features, but it's under an incredibly strict three-point checklist. Number 1, the adjustment cannot be readily made during a round. Number 2, all adjustable parts must be firmly fixed with absolutely no reasonable likelihood of working loose. And number 3, every single possible configuration of that adjustment must conform to the rules. You literally cannot have a setting that pushes the club into illegal territory.
And that leads us to this super fascinating detail, the friction fit band. Basically, you cannot adjust your club just by using your fingers, or any object normally kept in your pocket like a coin or a pitch mark tool. It has to require a specialized tool like an Allen key. Why? Well, because the friction fit could theoretically be tightened just enough to be usable, but still remain adjustable by hand while you're playing. Because of that loophole, the rulebook demands that your club must essentially be completely unusable unless it is locked down super tightly with its specific hardware.
But here's where things get kind of hilarious. Amidst all these super strict, high-tech rules, there are a couple of quirky, totally old-school exceptions that are perfectly legal. The rules explicitly ban moving parts or external attachments that give a performance benefit, right? Yet, slapping a piece of old-school lead tape onto your club head for weighting, totally fine. Similarly, you're actually allowed to attach a rubber suction cup to the butt end of your putter grip so you can fish your ball out of the hole without bending over. It's such a funny juxtaposition. High-tech moving parts are strictly banned, but a piece of old tape and a literal rubber plunger, perfectly acceptable on a traditional basis.
Finally, let's talk about the number 10. We mentioned earlier that every single configuration of an adjustable club has to be legal, right? Well, if you have a putter that is legally adjustable for its lie angle, there is a hard, strict limit you have to know about. The shaft of your putter can never legally diverge from the vertical by less than 10 degrees. If your adjustment mechanism allows the shaft to stand straighter than a 10-degree angle at any point, the entire club is rendered non-conforming.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today, from the biomechanics of mallet versus blade, all the way to the incredibly specific physics and rules enforced by the USGA. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Is that favorite putter sitting in your bag right now actually matched perfectly to your stroke? And more importantly, is it entirely legal, or is it secretly holding you back? I highly recommend you go rush to your golf bag right now, inspect your ultimate weapon, and ensure you are absolutely ready to master the green. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.